Hello everyone. This is actually kind of a surprise video for me. I was planning on my next video being the one playtesting the One Ring deck I constructed, but I was asked in preparation for an upcoming tournament to build a deck from a draft pick, and I thought I'd make a video on drafted decks as opposed to fully constructed decks. In this format, you're given a series of booster packs and starter packs. I've been asked not to give the exact mix for this one, so I'm not going to say so. Um, you're given a number, basically, you're given a big pile of cards, and you have to build a deck out of it. That makes your decks much weaker and much more limited than when you can freely put together whatever you like. But it also tends to increase the variety of play strategies. At high level decks all tend to converge around a handful of different strategies and tactics that just tend to work well. Whereas when you have to take what you can get, there's a bit more variety into things. Now, this is designed for a hero versus minion deck. I don't have nearly as much experience either playing minions or playing against minions as I do hero versus hero. So, especially on the hazard side of things, I'm probably going to be fumbling around a bit. This video might be a bit longer slash slower than most of my other deck building. Start with the characters. We've got Anborn is a Scout Ranger. He's good at playing Men of Lebanon. Aragorn is Aragorn, big tough Dunedain. Bergil is a one. There's quite a lot of these 2-mind 4/8 warriors who have weaknesses against corruption influence. So you've got Bergil representing the Dunedain, Hammer for men. A bunch of dwarves are 4/7, like Boffer down here. We've got Baratar, who's good for the Rangers of the North. We've got Barmer, who while he has a corruption check, has like one of the best prowess to mind ratios in the game. And we have Earith, who is a sage, but not all that great, especially since we don't actually have any healing cards. So her or Marvel. I sometimes like to include Earith and or Halbarad. They're both one-mind sages. You park them in a haven, and you have them use Marvel's Told. Here, don't have Marvel's Told, don't have any healing cards, so I doubt I'll use her. Buffer is again a kind of muscle character. We have 2 hobbits. Unfortunately, we have a grand total of 1 hobbit card. We have 1 copy of Halfling Stealth, so I don't think we'll include them. The hobbits just aren't strong enough. They're too hard to keep healthy if we don't have specific cards to support them. And I'm going to, by the way, when at least for my like personal sense of organization, I've just dumped all of the hero resources into a big pile. We've got 86 of them. Some of them, like we've got 2 each of these unique, so we can get rid of them right away. And I'm going to try to pare it down to 30 cards. We've got some more dwarves here. Bard and Peeth are our men. Gilder is I've used him in my Ariader deck. He's, I quite like Gilder, Eladon, Nilro here. Glorfindel is our single biggest character here. Galdor is not all that strong, but he's got a good direct influence, especially against elves. And for wizards, we drew 2 copies of Alatar, 1 of Pelando, 1 of Radagast. I'll probably go with Radagast and Alatar, but I'm still thinking it over. Now, because normally I like to tightly concentrate the resources I'm playing for points, that is probably not an option here. We do not have a whole lot of items or stuff that I can concentrate. So here's what we do have. Ally-wise, we have Gollum, 3 copies of Noble Steed. Now, Noble Steeds are great because you can tap them to cancel strikes at either themselves or their characters. They're basically stealth cards that last. And we have both Quick Beam and Skinbark. Skinbark's the stronger of the 2 ents, but you can see he's got some movement restrictions. Ideally, I'd like to park him with like a 1-mind character and just leave that person in Lorien. but we don't have a whole lot of very low mind people. The other thing is that because they both play at Welling Hall, they compete against each other. Now, I actually did draw one copy of Here, There, or Yonder. It's in here somewhere, which gives us a chance of playing both. The problem with that is that we don't actually have a lot of diplomats, especially if we use Alatar as our wizard. And the ones that we do have are a bit fragile. And one just general concern when it comes to drafted decks like this, because you have to pick an alignment, and roughly half of your resources will be for the other alignment, but hazard cards can be played against just about anyone most of the time. Generally, everyone's working from a deeper hazard pool than their resource pool, so expect to see a lot more characters getting killed, wounded, corrupted than we have in a standard constructed game. We've got 6 factions, and here we've got some good luck here, because we have the Dunlendings, Ironhill Dwarves, Knights of Dol Amroth, Men of Anfalas, Men of Anorian, the Rangers of the North. 4 of them have boosts by Dunedain. These 3 are all in Gondor, so relatively close to each other, and the Dunlendings isn't that far away. The Ironhill Dwarves are a bit out of the way. The other nice thing that we got lucky with is 4 of these factions, the Dunlendings, the Ironhill Dwarves, the Men of Anorian, and the Rangers of the North, are all at the same home site, and we've got characters that have bonuses against those factions. Baratar for the Rangers of the North, Boromir for the Men of Anorian, Gimli for the Ironhill Dwarves, and Peath for the Dunlendings. So at least before our wizard shows up, we have the option, if we draw any of those with their character, of just playing the character at the home site, trying to influence the faction, and then either trying to integrate them into a party or dismissing them the next turn. Items, however, are a bit less good. We wound up with 4 rings, 1 fair and 3 precious gold rings, but we only have 1 testing, ring that we can play post-test, and it's not that great of one. We also have Glamdring and Orcrist, which are very good weapons, especially since I'm going up against a minion deck, most likely. That means he can't play those cards, and I don't have to worry about someone playing them before me. So these cards are definitely in the deck, but I would have liked more items. We also have, in the special items, Gems of Arda is a bit annoying because we don't have a lot of stuff to help us play, move around in the Underdeeps. We'd have to go to the Underdeeps for it. We also have Wizard's Ring. A lot of cards I like. There are a lot of cards that I don't like. Wizard's Ring is one of the rare cards that I'm about. It's very double-edged. You play it on your wizard at a haven, so it's very easy and cheap to play, as it were. It has awesome effects. It gives you +5 direct influence, which is basically enough to, like, Baratar has a 5 mind. With the Wizard's Ring, I get enough extra direct influence to just have Baratar following whoever the wizard is, which is basically like an extra 2 marshalling points, right? In addition to the 2 the ring is worth. Gives you some extra prowess and toughness and body. But you have to make a corruption check when you play the item. You can never get rid of it. It can't be stored, stolen, or transferred. And it's worth 4 corruption points. So you really have to worry about how, is this going to corrupt my wizard? Given the poor state of items in this deck, though, I think I'm leaning towards it at the moment. Short rest, I'm just kind of going, short rest, not crazy about it. We are probably going to have to make long moves, unfortunately, but I'm not going to delete this just yet until I have a better idea of what. I'm going to get rid of the precious gold rings because, ironically, since we're looking for a magic ring, the odds are better with the fair gold ring, and I might not even include this. This itself might be too much trouble. Enduring Tales, and not great. Lapse of Will, I'm going to at least, for the moment, hang on to anything that makes us less likely to be wounded or killed. Moon possibly helps manipulate the environment, but I don't think we have anything that really synergizes well with this. Secret Ways. Secret Ways is going to go into the sideboard with the Gems of Arda. I just don't see the Underdeep stuff being part of our main strategy. Now, for minor items, we have 4. 2 Daggers of Westerness, an Elfstone, and a Potion of Prowess. I think we should definitely start with the Elfstone. I don't fully have the initial party worked out, but we'll probably want Gilder because he's just strong and he's a ranger. I'm thinking if we have Glorfindel holding the Elfstone, Gilder can follow him, and that's a nice little company right there. We also have Barrowblade, which synergizes well with the Dagger of Westerness. So I think those will be our 2 starting items. Potion of Prowess is okay, but I think this other stuff is better. Put the other Dagger of Westerness in the sideboard for now, but it'll probably go bye-bye. Now, I do want to keep that Barrowblade. Barrowblade basically upgrades one of your Daggers of Westerness, and we can do it at a Ruins and Lairs. So theoretically, if we have a bit of luck, we can go to the Stones or the Barrow Downs to play one of our other items, and then play the Barrowblade on the same turn. Dreams of Lore. Okay, ordinarily I never play Dreams of Lore. I want to have a bit more idea of what our resource strategy is before I discard this, but I'm leaning against it. We do not have a lot of sages in our character draw. Earith, but she's going to be impossible to keep untapped, I think. Glorfindel himself, and maybe our wizard. And if Radagast winds up being the wizard, not even him, that's going to make it hard to play this, and it's going to tap some of our biggest characters who can't untap until we store it at a haven. So I'm going to put that in the sideboard because right now I'm loath to completely eliminate any card that's worth points until I have a better idea. Fellowship we'll definitely want to keep as some extra protection. Gates of Mourning, maybe. Hall of Fire, I'm not a fan of this card. It helps us heal a bit faster. Actually, maybe that's not terrible. We'll keep this in mind. More Alert Than Most I'll want to keep and put in the main deck almost certainly. Makes it bit harder to use use hazards that pick their targets. We'll definitely want this because we can play it with any of our factions. This can help get rid of an automatic attack at a Ruins and Lairs, and right now we've probably got 1, 2, 3, 4-ish things that, maybe the Dreams of Lore, that winds up being in the deck. Rescue Prisoner. Okay, so Rescue Prisoner is another permanent event that's worth points. You have to play it an already tapped Darkhold or Shadowhold, though. You face some extra fights, and then you can store this actually, you get the points immediately. It's actually only worth 2. This is a pre-errated version of the card, but you can untap that character. The thing is, we do not have a whole lot of cards that are going to tap Shadowholds and Darkholds. So I'm a bit leery of. I just want to look up. Is the Gem Deeps? I think it's a Ruins and Lairs, though. Yeah, it is. Oh, it's under the Glittering Cave. So, nah, I still don't think it's worth bothering. Spy Sphere. I don't think we'll be breaking someone off into a separate party just to annoy the minions, especially where you can likely be beaten up. Tales of the Hunt, possible, but I don't think the men that we've got, Peath I don't think is going to be a starting character because we want her to be able to possibly pop up and play the Dunlendings, and I don't think I'm going to start with Bard, so I don't think I'm going to use this. This is completely useless against unless he's doing a Fallen Wizard, and I don't think he will be. But I'll put it in the specialized Fallen Wizard / Balrog sideboard. Can't hurt there. I think we will include one of these. It can't be duplicate, so we could put 2 in the deck, but since we can only play 1, I'm going to only keep 1. This lets us go to either Shadowhold, Darkhold, or Isengard. We face an extra attack. We can play this. When we store it, we can get our wizard. It's also worth 3 points, so you know. Another information, and this is a bit, now again, only worthwhile with sages. It's one of the reasons I don't like Dreams of Lore. So this is worth 1 fewer point. It actually has a use, although again it would involve tapping the sage, so don't, ideally Glorfindel is fighting and stuff, but let's hang on to it for now. This gives us an extra sight, but I don't think it's a great one, so I'm going to get rid of that. We're not using the hobbits, so don't need burglary. Definitely want this. This lets us stay untapped for a strike. Definitely don't want this because we have no horde items. Not a huge fan of escape, but again, right now I think anything that helps us not get killed is at least worth a second look. Don't like this. Do want to have Farsight, I think, to help us get an item fast. Flatter a foe. Yeah, could be worth a try. Yeah, I think I don't like this card. We got rid of the hobbits. We might get rid of this later, but at least for the moment, I think we might want to try this to try to get both Ents in at once. I am going to get rid of this. It could be useful. Well, I'll put it in the sideboard. It could be useful if Theo winds up doing an agent-heavy hazard strike, but I suspect he won't. Those require several specific cards that I think are unlikely for him to have altogether in this draft format. Useless. We want. This is probably not something we need. We definitely don't need this because we don't have Galadriel. I will probably get rid of this, but I think it's worth at least a second look because right now I'm not sure where we're planning on going for our items. Not too many. Well, no, actually, let's think about it right now. We're not going to any horde. We don't have any horde items, so we're not going to any dragon lairs. I can't even remember any sites with a Drake auto attack. Although I suppose it could also work on Drake's Key to a site. And the only troll auto attack site that we're likely to go to is Burweedu, and even that's not that likely. So yeah, I think we can get rid of this. Old Road, I mean, it does have uses. Actually, quite a few of our factions can be played with Old Road, but I don't think we have enough of the influence boosting stuff to give us a decent chance of actually succeeding in getting the faction. Only really useful if we get attacked by his party, which might happen, but I think you will go to the sideboard. Possible, but unlikely. Okay, we have a bunch of tests for our ring. Because we're looking for a magic ring, we actually want Test of Lore. Subtract. We need low results. So let's get rid of the tests of form, and we'll put the wizard's test in the sideboard, but probably not. Probably cull it later. Thorough Search can be a very powerful card, but it not with our deck. We don't have enough density. You know, Thorough Search is really powerful. We've got big parties, lots of items, and you want to try to play two things at once. We are not that deck. Vanishment, I think, is going to... Oops. But this is, again, spells belong in the sideboard because you don't want to draw them before you draw your wizard. We don't have a lot of healing stuff, but I suspect it's probably easier to just run back to a haven than to bother with this. And this isn't a flatter foe, isn't a riddling. Yeah, it's a flattery attempt, so we don't need that. The gems are going to go to the sideboard. And we are left with 41 resources, so we need to pair off 11 more. I think Hall of Fire is going to go. Gates of Morning might go, depending on how we want to do the environment. I think we are going to get rid of Sated Beast. As tight as we are on items, I think we are going to... actually, I'll put it in the sideboard. Along with the Tests of Lore and the Magic Ring of Words. It's just 3 cards for a 3-point item that we're going to have some trouble actually assigning because of our shortage of diplomats is just a bit too tenuous. Now we only have 8 points worth of items in the whole deck, which is not great. So 8, but we do have 9 points of allies, which is pretty nice, and we do have 2, 6, 9, 11, 13. We do have 16 worth of factions, so I think this can work. Yeah, let's get rid of a short rest and we'll get rid of Moon. Oh, we're getting rid of the Potion of Prowess. We don't need that at all. We'll put the Gates of Morning in the sideboard for now and see what we have available as a for our hazard strategy. We might wind up doing something that is Doors of Night run, so we'll keep it like that. And with that, we at least have a first draft of a resource deck. Oh, actually, let's... No, I want to give some more thought to the characters, and that might take a while. That's our first draft of the resource deck. And next up, we will do the hazard side of things and finalize our parties. Hope you enjoyed.